Hello, and welcome to Community Connections, a new program series on METV. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, Station Manager for Manatee Educational Television, and it's been our privilege over the last few years to highlight organizations, institutions, and nonprofits that contribute much to Manatee County and its citizens. We all know that these organizations, large and small, contribute so much to the quality of life through the resources and services they provide. However, this program is intended to be a behind-the-scenes look to highlight those leaders whose visions, values make an organization a success. It is our intent on Community Connections to ask our guests about their personal development, about the values they've learned and implement in their work, and how each individual leader grew into the person they are today. Did family play an important part in providing guidance? Was there a mentor or two that was instrumental in developing leadership attributes on the path to leadership? And how do you take those intangible qualities of character and translate them into a strategic vision for an organization? Honesty, integrity, vision, value, character are sometimes just buzzwords. But for those individuals here in Manatee County who lead by example, those words are the foundation for their character and their work. And for this first edition of Community Connections, we can't think of a better individual to discuss leadership and character than the President and CEO of the Manatee Y, Sean Allison. Sean, thank you very much for being here today.
My pleasure.
And as I said,
you.
We couldn't think of a better person to premiere on this edition of Community Connections.
Thank you. Honored.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Y, first of all, and the scope of services, and how the Y is really kind of transformed itself in these recent years.
Well, the Y is an exciting place to be right now. We've done a lot of amazing things in the last 3 years to reach all of Manatee County. We're really reaching out to make sure that our mission is truly being operationalized, put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. So we're really trying to expand the depth of what we do into the community, and just had some amazing things occur in the last couple of years. We've invested in capital. We've expanded our facilities by almost $3 million in the past 4 years. We've started new programs, new partnerships. The Y itself now serves over 5,000 households in Manatee County through membership. So the expansion of Lakewood Ranch, or the partnerships we have, the new Y-Tech High School, for instance, the changes that we're doing in established programs like our middle school program, and all very exciting stuff. And I'm privileged just to have this job and get to go to work there every day.
Well, some of the things that you mentioned are really significant, and we want to take a moment or two to talk about them briefly. For example, the Manatee Tech School that you've initiated, that's a visionary type of program. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and why not only you felt the need for it, but why you wanted to develop the Y's resources to reach into that part of the community?
Well, the YMCA has a long history of reaching out to kids that aren't on the right path, let's say. That's how the Y started. And so here in Manatee County, as we were working with a lot of teens, we started a huge teen effort, and that led us into really looking at the problems that teens are faced with. And there were some extreme issues that we needed to address, such as the gangs, and did a lot of work working with gangs and in partnerships with others. We did a comprehensive gang prevention, intervention, and suppression program. Well, in the course of that, we noticed there's a lot of high school kids that just weren't in school. And we looked at the statistics, and there was a huge number of them. Many of them made bad decisions, weren't allowed back into school. Some of them had just kind of drifted away. Some of them even got a job and just quit school altogether. So we started working with some local alternative schools here to try to get the kids plugged in. Richard Milburn Academy, Horizons, AMI Kids, Gulf Coast Marine, and that worked okay. And then year before last, we had 2 schools that just went out of business completely. Richard Milburn Academy and AMI
Right.
Kids. So there's a huge void there. And we'd been working for about a year on a model for high-risk and at-risk kids. And we put together a team, worked with school board officials, developed a curriculum plan, and implemented the program. And it's been great. We have 206 kids right now in the program. We will have about 20 of them graduate this year, hopefully
That's got to
30.
be exciting.
It is. Graduation is set for May 31st at 6 p.m. We're in the Spanish courtyard of the South Florida Museum. It's going to be a very special evening, special occasion for kids those are kids that wouldn't have a diploma if we weren't there. So we're getting them jobs, we're working on character and career with them, and it's just been very exciting. It's just a blessing to be a part of it.
And Sean, that's a great example of some of the things that we want to talk about in this program, about the level of effort that you bring to an organization, specifically, the Manatee Y. But you've done so many other different things too within the Y too. And one of the things that comes to mind, and with your partners and your colleagues with the Y, is the work that you've done with Pride Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and
Sure.
and how long you've been working on that?
Well, we started in depth in Pride Park, doing outreach work in 2006, but we've been in that area for about 16 years with after-school programs at Daughtry Elementary School and summer camp programs. There was talk about a community center coming to that area, and there wasn't a lot of people at that time stepping up saying they wanted to run the community center in there. The Y did, and so in looking at how to do that, we knew that we had to reach out into the community in depth and find out what was going on. And what we decided to do, the number one problem there that needed to be addressed was youth gangs. And so I hired an interventionist, Jerry Parrish, who started working in the streets every day with the kids. The popularity of that program and outreach just grew. We had people and partners coming left and right, joining us in that effort. And it's just been amazing to watch it. I look at what's going on in Pride Park as not just a Y thing, but you have the Manatee County, you have Bayside Community Church, you have Cornerstone Church from Lakewood Ranch, and I'm gonna forget some, but a huge contingent of folks that are in there working. And I like to think the Y kicked the door open and told the community, hey, it's okay. And I know there's problems all around the world, and as churches we want to be sensitive to that. We want to send our missionary support and our youth groups to Guatemala and Belize in the summer, but right in our backyard is a situation that would rival any of those places. And so encouraging people to spend time and resources at home, I think, has been helpful to not only the people who live there, but the people that serve there, because you have hungry kids. We feed and we clothe a lot of the kids there, and I like to say what, for instance, the Adopt a Block program, what those people do for the bellies of some of those kids there, it's equal to what the work is doing in the hearts of those that are there serving. Exactly. And it's just been an amazing thing to be a part of and to witness. And we've had hundreds of kids swear off gangs, and we work with kids all the time. Yesterday, in my office, 2 young kids. Jerry brought 2 young kids, the cutest kid you'd ever see, an 8-year-old and a 8-year-old boy and his 10-year-old sister, and we're working with them and the family, and they hadn't been to school in a while, and that's because their older brother really committed some pretty heinous crimes last summer, and fear of retaliation and everything. Mom was keeping the family together and close by, and so, bringing those kids just even into the Y office and giving them a cookie and then getting them set to get back to school, and Jerry making that happen. You know, that just, you know, right after they left, I could have gone home. You know, job well done today. You know, let's think about tomorrow now. But those are the kind of impacts that we're seeing, and it's just really special.
Well, the work that the Y has done in the Pride Park area has been remarkable and has been recognized throughout the community for the level of effort that they've done. And you know, you might not have kicked the door, you opened that door up, and a lot of people came and supported you. And perhaps down the road, we'd like to do a follow-up program on all your efforts that are being made. Why inclusive of all these things. Recently we had a program, you did the Y breakfast, and you had some really special guests there about what the Y means. And it isn't just a swim and gym place anymore. It is really a community center.
Well, we're a swim and gym place because we do that very well. If you see,
and always have.
Yeah, I mean, if you see the pools that we operate, the fitness center, the staff, the level of caring staff that are there, the equipment. In fact, Lakewood Ranch's new wellness center was just named the #1 wellness center in Sarasota County and Manatee County by the Herald Tribune. So, you know, we do that very well. It's not part of our reputation that we want to downplay at all, or that we're ashamed of, because it is it's mission work just as much as anything else is, helping people stay healthy, and so that's why we've got that reputation. At the same time, the Y is much more. We really, the national Y and local Ys went through a thought process to try to categorize what they do, to better communicate it. And they really came up with 3 big buckets. One of them is development of youth, which we work a lot, do a lot with. The other is social responsibility, which covers a lot of the Pride Park stuff, and then healthy living. So everything that we do really falls into those categories. And again, it's such a diverse body of work.
Exactly.
You know, it keeps you busy, and it keeps your brain active, and it keeps you, you know, your creative juices just boiling over all the time.
And the scope of it is great. You have wonderful people that work with you, both as staff and associates, but also as community partners as well. Yep. But I want to change course here for a minute, Sean, and talk a little bit about you and, you know, your development and how you, as a young man, came through the ranks and into a position of leadership here in Manatee County. And you're a Show Me State young man, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I was born in Springfield, Missouri. Moved away from Springfield a couple of times, but always back, and graduated from Kickapoo High School, the world-famous Kickapoo High School, with Brad Pitt there in Springfield.
Now, did you and Brad know each other?
He was a freshman and I was a senior, so you know what, I just didn't have much opportunity to talk with him. But no, actually, you know, Brad grew up just 2 blocks from me. He and his brother always in the neighborhood. In fact, it's kind of funny that all the moms from Village Green neighborhood where we all lived will tell you to this day that Brad's dad was much better looking than Brad ever was. And when they would go to the neighborhood pool, all the ladies would stare at Mr. Pitt, and we'd kind of laugh at that. And then I went to Drury University there in Springfield on a swimming scholarship.
Terrific.
And yeah, it was a great place to grow up.
Well, tell us a little bit about your family and your mom and dad and growing up. And I've heard you speak on occasion about your grandmother as well, and how instrumental she was in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, growing up was pretty interesting. I was one of those kids, I guess, you could call me from a broken home, so to speak. Parents had a very tumultuous relationship growing up, and they finally split up permanently when I was a senior in high school. But we grew up in a very safe neighborhood, very Midwestern suburban neighborhood, and great friends, and had a lot of fun. I was a fun seeker more than I was a student in high school, and was an athlete. enjoyed, sports and hanging out with friends and doing all kinds of stuff. And so that was, but my grandparents on both sides played a real important part in my life. My grandfather on my mother's side, Grandpa Kelly, he was a very accomplished leader in the construction industry. He built Hearns Field House at MU and would do major construction as far as he could drive from Lebanon, Missouri every day and back, because Grandma never wanted to leave Lebanon. But they were very loving and very doting and folks, and they're very, they really instrumental in shaping me. And then on the other side, my dad's side, Dr. Bradley Allison was a Baptist minister, and he and Grandma Allison also helped forge the spiritual side of my life. Looking at both those guys as examples were very, very instrumental, and I'm very thankful to have that. And Mom was a hardworking teacher. Grandma was a teacher. Grandma Allison was a teacher, ESE teacher. That was a big part of my growing up too. Mom raised me and my two brothers pretty much for some years just all on her own, and we struggled, and it was tough. Had a lot of tough days there with that, and so, but faith and being determined to do something, whether it was in athletics or otherwise with your life, got you through it, got me through it. Yeah.
So as a young man, you're an athlete, you're a strapping young athlete, and obviously, you kind of excelled at some sports. Swimming was one of them? Yeah,
I went on a swimming scholarship and had a lot of success. I really loved football. That was my first love, but I was really good at swimming, and I didn't have to really work at it that hard. I was natural at doing the backstroke, upside down, going backwards, and so I was as a national champion 7 times, All-American 11 times. Our school won the NAIA national championship twice, runner-up twice while I was there, and a lot of success, qualified for the Olympic trials even. Decided not to go to the trials, but had a lot of success and a lot of fun. So.
And during that period of time, were there things as you're growing up and you're learning as an athlete and kind of excelling there, was there a moment that I want to remember this? This life lesson is something that I need to take to heart. Was there a coach there that made a difference?
Yeah, my college coach, Jack Steck, really made a difference in my life. He took a chance on me coming out of high school. I didn't have the best grades, and I did okay with the ACT test, but he took a chance on me. But he knew me. He saw me growing up, knew my family, knew what was going on, and him giving me a chance. And now back then too, the 70s. Entrance standards were much more relaxed than they are today. I don't know if I could have got into school today, but he took a chance on me, and he strong-armed the admissions people to take me. Yeah, Dr. Flickema, I can still remember him shaking his head going, "You want this kid? Are you kidding me, Steck?" He goes, No, we want him. And so he got me, I got a little job lifeguarding there, and it was tough, man. I can remember first biology test, just really, it took me a week to read 3 chapters in Biology 101. It was tough. I had to learn to study. I had to learn so many things that were just foreign to me. So there's a lot of lessons there. I can remember, learning to really invest yourself 100% into something, And I thought I had done that before, but there were some times there, just in training, where you would go so hard and you'd work so hard. I found myself just sometimes after practice just not being able to walk. And somehow we had to get across campus to dinner. I can remember one time just thinking that now I know what it means to come to the end of yourself, because you know, the stresses of the training regime, which was just, you know, insane. One summer in particular that I trained all year long and was swimming 5 hours a day and then working a full-time job, you know, I just thought at the end of that, well, man, if I can do this, there's nothing I can't do. And so that was important, I think.
So that sense of determination of making it and getting through the finish line and succeeding, you know, that was a kind of like opened the door for you a lot.
It did. It really did. I felt like I wanted my life to make a difference, and since I was young, I had an appreciation for individuals. I've always had that, and in fact, I was talking to somebody earlier today saying that, you know, was telling me how I was unique in that. We were talking about a particular friendship I have with an individual that no one else really likes, and so I go, well, I can get along with them fine. I've always had an appreciation for that. I've always had appreciation for the one that was maybe in the back of the class kind of struggling, you know, and you know, you can ask my mom, you know, I'd invite people home to spend the night that my mom would just go,
shake her
what
head
are you thinking? We need to get you some better friends. I go, well, what's wrong with him, you know? But I've always had that appreciation, and so I think that lent itself well, the dedication and the wanting to make a difference, wanting to serve, looking at the little guy, kind of thing. When I saw the opportunities there were for me in the Y, I just said, man, this is it. This matches up everything that you know. This matches up everything in my past to this point. And so when I started working at the Y, I was just, this is it, man. I can do everything I wanted to achieve through this organization.
And the Y came into your life at a pretty young age.
Well, when I was 6, I started going to the Y in Longview, Texas. We lived there for a couple of years, ride my bike there, and then when we moved back to Springfield, Missouri, you know, my dad would take us to the Y sometimes. We'd go there after school, and yeah, it really happened. I got out of college, and is this the story you want to hear, by the way? I got out of college, was coaching swimming, was coaching at Missouri State University, and I coached there for 4 years. Fell in love with my wife, Colleen, before I knew her name. You know, that was another thing, man. I knew that was it. She was the one.
From across campus,
yep.
You were...
Really? Yes. And I used to stalk her. Thank God she wore this bright yellow raincoat, because I could see her from about a half a mile and then take the right sidewalk. So anyway, you don't want to hear about that. So we're getting married, and I'm coaching a United States swimming team. I'm coaching a college team. I've got a part-time job in a bike shop, and I'm also working construction on the side. And I said, well, geez, I'm getting married now. I got to get a real job. I had a background in communications, so I went to a radio station, got the job, nailed the job. I wear the tie every day, and became an account executive, and was doing well, but I hated it because I wasn't working with kids anymore. You know, I wasn't seeing anybody's life transformed by this, and so after 6 months, I was hanging my head, and I went back to my swim coach, and I said, man, gosh, I can't take this anymore. I need something else. And he said, well, here's a piece of paper. And the piece of paper was a description, it was an advertisement for a aquatics director because the Y in town was building a new branch. And so I said, wow, okay. So I went right over there and I filled out my application, and it's going to be a year before they have that position open. So I took a part-time job working, teaching swim lessons 2 nights a week and Saturdays.
Okay.
And I did that for about a year and before I got the full-time job. But what was funny is I went home and I go, Colleen opens the door and says, hey, go to the Y and apply. That'd be something maybe you could try. And I said, I just went and I applied. And that's a true story. And so I go, man, this is from God. This is like confirmation times 10. So that's how I got in the Y, and loved it right off. Worked 70, 80 hours, really, a week, running programs at 2 different branches. So that's how I got started.
And what you brought to that was not only an enthusiasm, but a love, to be working with young people and kind of bring them together.
Yeah.
To be able to, and I think that's really a mark of a good teacher and a good mentor is you want to make a difference. You want to make a difference, and you can see that on a one-on-one basis when you're working with young people. And did you were experiencing that every day?
Yeah, and since I went in the Y and I continued to get promoted, and I got out of that programming stuff, but I've always tried to keep my hand in it, and I did that by always volunteer coaching, always trying to work with individuals. I had, my wife and I, we have 6 kids, so being involved in children's lives wasn't a struggle after a while. I had plenty of involvement. And on the other side of things, though, at the Y, I've always tried to, really be a part of kids' lives. And today I have like 3 or 4 kids I currently mentor, and take them a couple of them to school every day and do things. And that's important to me. I really want to see if the Y can't be a place where the people that work there, and because of who we are actually improving people's lives, then it's just academic. It's just, window dressing. And so that part is essential. And I can't see myself doing anything else.
Well, Jerry Parrish, who is a strong advocate of the Y and has worked with you for many years, he quotes you quite often, whether you know it or not, but he does quote you. One of the things that he says, which is really, I think, a great explanation of how you feel, is that they all matter or none of them matter. And I think that's a really good indication of the quality and the character that you bring to that. Now, as you've developed and your professional life continued to succeed, those qualities that you had as a young man were kind of asked to be expounded upon, the leadership values, the quality of character, the integrity, and specifically the vision as a leader within the Y organization. How did you measure all of these things? Was it a step-by-step? Did you have a strategic vision as you were thinking, or did it just happen very naturally for you?
I don't know. I think I've always lived my life as part of a plan, and I really try to follow the tenets of my faith. I'm a Christian, and really try to follow the example of Christ, and especially his teachings, and that kind of folds together my faith and my dependence on God. With that, looking every day at what the opportunity is to live that out. I think that's kind of been the plan. So when a window opened of opportunity that matched my skills, my faith, whenever that opened up, that's what I pursued. And so I'd never really had in fact, I can remember getting in a fist fight almost with a kid on my swim team in college. We were seniors at the time, and I don't know if it was I don't know what department it was at the college, but they were helping people with their resumes and getting stuff out and everything.
Right.
And he came and he said, you know, are you going to that? Are you getting your resume all done and everything? And I said, no, I don't think I'm going to do a resume. He goes, you're not going to do a resume. You know, he was incensed that he was type A. I'm type AB positive. And anyway, so he you know, we almost got, because I never really saw it as, wow, the next position is going to come as part of strategy. It's gonna, you know, I tend to just follow the vibe, I guess, in my life, and that certainly is how I got to Manatee County, and how I, you know, thank God, you know, my wife is patient with me and supportive, and supportive of the work I'm doing, sees it as a ministry, and you know, she's hung with me there. I think that in a lot of ways she would like to see the master plan laid out in more detail than what I have, what's available, you know, but I think that's how it works for me.
Well, I think, you know, I think also, you know, from just your qualities of expectation in life is to, you know, want to achieve, and the determination that perhaps as an athlete, you know, to get to that finish line, to work harder and everything, kind of pushes you and helps you make those hard decisions sometimes that, you know, as an individual in your position has to make sometime.
Yeah, you got to make decisions quick. I think that when opportunities come, once you say we're going, you go as hard as you can. And sometimes there's room for mid-course correction. You got to make those. But I think in the role that I'm in right now, you know, some guy was describing it to me, a friend of mine, saying that, you know, no one's going to drive my bus. I'm not going to sit back, but I'm going to be the type of person that will be in the driver's seat, making those decisions. And there's not a lot of people that do that, really. I mean, there's very few of us that, you know, that want to do that or feel confident doing that. I was just kind of that, but that's key, I think, when you have, and in my experience with the Y, though, I work with a board of directors that are very strategic in their thinking, and I've got a core group of board members that are just excellent at shaking out the opportunities, looking at new goals, looking at setting strategies behind those, you know, and really just working in conjunction with them, you know, has been part of the reason for our success here in Manatee County. And they are, so we all know our board meetings a lot of times are large discussions, and we're throwing ideas out, and we're solving problems, and we're crunching the numbers and the opportunities. And boy, when we come away from these meetings, you know, we're all going in this direction. This is the way we're going. I feel empowered now, and so
and to have that sense of a
awesome.
shared vision, no matter how you get there. But at the end of the day, when you have that shared vision, it's got to be rewarding for you, not only as a leader, but also as part of this larger organization.
The reward comes from just making something better. You know, I look at the story in the Bible about the ruler who left his estate in the hands of 4 stewards, and to one he gave a large amount, to another a smaller amount, to another a smaller amount, and to one he just gave just a teeny itty bitty amount. And the person he gave the little amount to while he was gone did nothing with it but just stick it in the ground, so when he got back he would have it. So he didn't grow it, didn't develop it, and I feel like that, you know, playing it safe is not the way to go. I think that you've got, I get satisfaction out of just making something better, whatever it is. Let's just make it better. And If it's a facility and it's dirty, let's make it better. If it's a program and it's only serving 6 kids, well, let's make that better. Let's how are we evaluating our staff? Let's do that. Let's do that a little bit better. How are we putting the pieces in place to do that, knowing you can't do it all on your own. You have to have the volunteers and the staff. That's what I get the joy out of and so when community problems come up, whatever the community problem is, I feel like that I have the ability to really just make it better. I mean, call me egotistical but you can, and I am probably, and I have some arrogance maybe in that area, but until somebody tells me, no, you can't do that, I'm going to keep working at it until I can make it better. And part of that process is making sure you're not on your own. You've got a group of people around you that are also that are
shared vision, shared work, shared effort,
right,
towards it. Now, one of the things that I want to take a few moments to talk about, and you briefly mentioned it when we began, is the scope of people that you work with. And you've been over to Pride Park, and you've been with families that have been involved with gangs, people that have been involved in shootings, ex-gang members. But you've dealt with the whole gamut of people, all the way up to, elected officials, to business leaders, and everything. What is that shared characteristic that you bring to all of those conversations? Is that directness that you have? Is that value that you place on everyone? What are those things that, and we've seen the success that you've had with this wide variety of individuals. What do you bring to that when you sit down with either that gang leader or that county leader? What do you bring to the table?
Well, sometimes the things you bring to the table aren't things that you're bringing to the table. Like the position that I have, when you come down and you sit with someone or someone views you from the outside, they're always seeing you differently than who you are, always. And I think that's detrimental in some ways. I am exactly who I am, and when I say as outlandish or as strange or as it may sound, when I say, hey, we want to put a facility in Pride Park, we want to put that there, and we're going to figure out a business plan to make it work. We don't want to come to anybody for we're going to do this, and I may not know 100% of the plan, but I wouldn't say that if I didn't know 95% of it. And some people will look at you like, well, gosh, is that his ego talking? Is that, oh, well, he's playing a political game, or it's none of that. It's, I really try to be, and I think I am what I say I am. And there's nothing more to that. I don't, so when you bring things to the table, like when I'm talking with when I pick up Joey and PJ in the morning for school every day, and I'm Coach Sean. To a lot of kids, they call me Coach Sean. That's great. I love that term. It's the second best term to dad is coach, and so I'm Coach Sean. So these guys, they'll come up to me and say, hey, do you got $1? I'll take them to McDonald's. We'll get breakfast in the morning. I had a kid, I was driving away the other day, a kid I worked with, he yelled at me from the car, hey, I need lunch money. You got lunch money? I said, so I scraped some change, that's who I am there. And so, to me, they're not intimidated by, position, and thank God they aren't. I don't want to intimidate anybody, like that, but position or, or anything like that. And, they can come in my office, ask me if I got cookies. And so that's that component. And then, when you're dealing with other leaders in the community, I really try to find some common ground, at least that will sponsor discussion, that will encourage discussion, that will encourage relationship building.
Right.
Really try to do that. And a lot of times that's looked at as saying, wow, it's just, a political game, or that's, but in my mind, it's just I really want to get to know somebody. I think that's really important. And so I may come across as being informal in some ways, I think, but I guess the thing that I bring to the table always is that I want to know exactly what your needs are.
So there's a directness and an openness.
My priority is to find out what your need is, and I want to see if I've got the ability to help you.
Help solve that problem.
Right. I just want to help. I don't want to do it to make a name for myself. I don't want to do it to make any money. I'm not trying to get paid out of that. I work with a couple of non-for-profit boards here in town, and again, I'm only there if I can help make things better. I'm happy, and that's what I want to do. I'm not there for position or anything like that. So I think that's unique. I think a lot of people don't know how to take that, but that's really that's what I bring to the table. I just want to try to make things better.
Well, Sean, if I may, I want to suggest a couple of things to you. Is that since you've been involved with the Y now as the president and CEO, which has been over the last, how many years now? 10?
6 years.
Oh, 6 years.
Yeah.
Seems like 10, but it's not. But you've created a real sense of community. The Y has grown, it has prospered, you've nurtured it along with some difficult things. The Manatee Y Technological Institute is, if anything, I think that's a tremendous effort, because there was a need in the community for that. The efforts within Pride Park are to be commended. But I think within the community, there is a sense that, honesty, directness, the lack of any kind of agenda is something that's very important and refreshing for leaders in this community to have. And I would say that you bring all of that to any conversation, whether it's people in Pride Park or it's people at a government meeting. And we kind of wind down here, and we only have a few minutes left. I want to spend a little time in talking about what's next and what you see as the important things. And I'm not just talking about the Y, even though you're a community leader. Your sphere of influence is outside of the Y. If there was a place that you could help or you could assist in any way, you're willing to take that step to do that. You just do a lot of stuff under the Y umbrella presently. What would you like to see happen? Where do you see the challenges? And how do you think your talents and abilities can face those challenges?
Well, for Manatee County, I would like for it to, as a whole community, to really believe that that high level of attainment is possible. I would like to see. We work with the school board, we work with school district. I'd like for that district to really believe in itself that a high level of achievement and attainment is possible. Yeah, we're not the same community as Sarasota, we're not the same community as Clearwater,
right.
But we have the ability to set that bar high and move as a community, to attain a high level of performance, and so that's very interesting to me to watch. And it's going to take, I'm praying for the new leader of the school board, because I really want him to. I think he will, knowing what I know about him, to really set the bar high for everybody, and everybody just, kind of just take a deep breath, let the ego just kind of settle, because we've been through a terrible ordeal, and we've been wounded, and there's stuff there still. But I think that if we just kind of set our sights toward, we can get to a high level of excellence. Same thing. I see that in the lives of a lot of people here. I talked to some folks, and like one of the things we do at Y Tech is we really focus on telling these young kids to think about the way you're thinking, which is different, because a lot of these kids, when they come from a situation they've been in, or they're just young and immature, they don't think about why they're thinking the way they think regarding school, themselves, their future. You know, they all come with, if you ask anyone, even kids that are in gangs, they don't see a future for themselves in gangs. Exactly. They see a future, they've got a nice home, a nice family, nice car, a job. You know, that's what they see, but then their behavior is incongruent. So think about why you think about this. Right. And I think that in the lives of a lot of individuals here, that I would like to see them, you know, I'd like to see people really think differently about themselves and really try to attain higher levels of excellence. This is a great place to live. I think it's going to continue to blossom. I think we're going through the community as a whole is going through a lot of changes on every front. Exactly. And it's exciting to see, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but I think it's good. So I don't know if that answered your question or not. I'm not going to run for any political office, it does. That's for sure. But I hope to be, you know, I hope to help out anywhere I can. So.
And I'm sure that's the fact. And one of the things, you know, and I'll go back to your days as a competitive swimmer, is just the determination and the perseverance to overcome and get to the end of your lane, and I think that's a lot. But one thing I did want to mention, and even though you've mentioned, I think a lot of credit and success comes from your family, and you're talking about your mother and your wife and your family. It's an instrumental part, and a lot of kids growing up don't have that, and a lot of people don't have that. And tell us briefly, why a family is so important to anyone's success, and particularly to yours.
Well, I mean, my family, my wife and I have 6 kids, and things we've been through in the last 5 years, I think, thank God, very few families have to go through. It's kind of, but there's been a lot of challenges on the home front. Our youngest, he's 6, little Nate. He was born with Down syndrome, and later was diagnosed also with autism. He's doesn't communicate. He's 8 years old. We have him in a wonderful school right now, a newer school called Beyond the Spectrum out in Lakewood Ranch. Great, caring people there. But that was a challenge, because my wife and I, after 5 kids, we have this down. Hey, man, 6th kid, come on. We know it all. We've memorized the books. My wife's memorized the books. I've asked for the summaries, and so that threw us to a loop. So that really challenged us, challenged our leadership, challenged our marriage, challenged us to our faith, and it was good though. And then as soon as we moved here, between 2005 and 2008, 3 of my other 6 kids came down with type 1 juvenile diabetes, and they're insulin dependent, they're on pumps. And so as a parent, it rips your heart out. And so what we go through as a family, the doctors, hospital stays, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And my wife, full-time nurse caregiver, right there, because I'm gone all day, a lot of it falls on her, and she carries a lot of the stress too. But we couldn't do it without each other. And so, that's an extreme situation, but I don't think today, given all the challenges, the economic challenges, the challenges with the media and what the kids are exposed to, my message is, man, mom and dad and hang together and stick it out and you know, look at the bigger picture and stay together. Try, you know, stick it out. Each day have forgiveness for one another, and each day, you know, express commitment and be bound together by something greater than the two of you. Be bound together by a faith, and because I think that's the core of this. That's the core of our society right now and in our community. The healthier our families are, you know. I love seeing when the community does stuff for families like the Riverwalk. I think that's just been great, you know. And when the community, when our community recognizes that, man, we got to get behind, you know, this small, really, institution of marriage, which is the building block. I think that's cliche, but it's true. The building block of so many things that can, you know. There's an organization in town called Marriage Works. Oh, wonderful the way they help empower families staying together. And it's we all make mistakes. We're all humans, but man, we got to have forgiveness for one another. And I really believe in forgiving. And you know, we have to have forgiveness for one another. Have to look at the big picture. Let's keep the thing intact. And so our kids are doing well. You know, every day is a new day. Each day we wake up, have a new set of challenges, doctor's appointments, whatever.
Right.
But boy, you just take it one hit. What do we do today? Let's not worry about what this means for 10 years from now, but what do we have to do today? And that's how we get through it. And you know, kudos to Colleen Allison. She's my hero in my life. So.
Sean, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk about this and how critical it is, you know, to talk to people and also to show this community that the leadership in this community has a deep and abiding care for its success for all children, and this community's not only spiritual success, but their success as individuals. Whether it's Mr. Allison or Sean or Coach Sean, you've really contributed significantly to this community. And your challenges ahead, whether it's at a Pride Park or someplace else, those will be overcome because I think that you bring a level of effort, a sincerity, and a genuine effort to the success of everyone here in Manatee County.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on this premiere edition of Community Connection. We'll see you next time. I'm Charles Clapsaddle for METV.